a police officer's there to solve what's going on. But first thing is the tragedy, and you associate that tragedy with the police officer. And there's also the other people who are experience negative attitude or whatever from a police officer. They train or educate other people about that. I think it's all education to the public that it's only a small percentage everywhere that it's a bad apple that causes a bad perception of all these other great, good working, hard-working police officers everywhere. And it's just education. We have people that were willing to come up and ask directions or any kind of questions. True, they're afraid because something in the background, maybe their relatives was arrested or they just got recently just got a ticket. But the main thing is they should know the police officer's there 24/7 to help somebody in need.
Okay. How about you, Sergeant Yin? What have you learned from your past 9 years? You've been visiting the Philippines.
Yes.
So what have you learned through these 9 years about your Filipino counterparts?
I've learned a tremendous amount. I've learned the can-do spirit, the amazing practical and pragmatic nature of how police work gets done here. I've learned the interrelationships between the barangay, tanods with the police and how they respond to runs. Actually, I've implemented a lot of the same ideas from here, some of my own troopers back home, in terms of certain tactics, and these are police-related tactics, such as when you respond to a hot scene and there's a window, how do you approach knowing that there's a window there? And that's something I learned from the PMP. So it certainly is a sharing process here. And I've learned that the Filipino police officers are very adept at overcoming any type of hardship. That they're brave beyond belief. Police officers are the only people that, when they hear gunshots, they don't run away. They run towards the problem. So I think that common bond is very evident here.
Okay, about Officer Joseph Villamor, what have you learned for the past 4 years that you've been coming here? Well, first of all, you've always been exposed to the Philippine National Police when you were young.
Yes.
And I guess when you were 16, that was when? During the time of Marcos?
Yes.
Well, things were pretty bad then. Well, things have improved now, I guess. Because at that time, I don't know if you were, well, you must be aware that during that time, our President, Marcos, he just spoiled our military and police rotten. And if you had a uniform and you had a gun, you can do almost anything to anyone. And that was when the term salvaging, you know about salvaging.
Yes.
It's the exact opposite. You don't salvage, you destroy, because, well, we see it in movies, in some of detective movies, but, so anyway, back to you. What have you learned, over this past 4 years that you've been coming here? Do you see any change, positive change?
Definitely. I mean, compared to, say, when I was a teenager and now, the Philippine National Police is a very disciplined police force, and there's continually to strive to be a professional police force. Perception, we're also having difficulties in San Francisco. We're also enacting programs to better the perception within our own department. We're community policing, anything to improve our perception. So these last 4 years, definitely big improvement. And again, I'm very proud to see my fellow Kababayans and my fellow police officers and the departments striving to get to that point.
Okay, and by the way, I don't know if I mentioned it, probably not, but for the past 4 or 5 years, the chief of police of the great city of San Francisco is a woman. What do you call her? Chief?
Right.
Chief Heather Fong. Chief Heather Fong. She's a career police officer, and well, that's something we have to see in Manila. We haven't had. We've had a female police general, a female military general, but I don't think we've ever had a woman chief of police of a major city. How did this come about? Because I was looking through the roster, and she's the first, and she's Asian at that. So was this a political thing, or was she a political appointee, or did she rise through the ranks, or?
Well, she certainly proved herself at every rank that she tested for, and I certainly would not assume that she's a political appointee.
But she was appointed by the mayor.
Yes,
Okay.
she was. She served. She's an exemplary police officer. She walked a footbeat. She ran training at the academy. She was lieutenant at a very busy station. Became a captain at one of the crown jewels in the city. Was an outstanding administrator as a commander, and certainly was a very wise choice for any mayor to be chief of police.
Okay, now Sergeant Yin, I mean, I don't want to, I want to discuss this before we run out of time. You're the veteran when it comes to the pet project in the Philippines. Where do you see it going? Like, do you see it still happening next year, 5 years from now? Or, because since you're using your own funds, this would be limited. And right now there's an economic downturn in the United States, and everyone is affected, and I'm sure your incomes are affected too. So where do you see it going?
Jerry, you can be confident that every year that we can, we'll be back. I see us back in 5 years and 10 years. And the reason being is that for every one of us here right now, there's at least 20 of us back home who want to be here doing this. So I don't think the downturn is going to spoil that. I mean, I have young guys 2 to 3 years in that are begging to come, but they don't quite yet meet our very high standards and our high criteria. When we come here, we want to demonstrate that we are the highest caliber, most professional that we can be.
Okay, so wait a minute. Okay, I thought it was all a volunteer thing. I want to go. So in a way it is, but in a way, okay, you want to go, prove yourself in, how do you prove yourself, Lieutenant Espinda? How do the members of your delegation prove themselves? I mean, are you experts, or did you become the officer of the year, or how do you get to be with this, right now they're a 10-man delegation?
Yes, it's very important to see what kind of training each officer who are coming to this program. We have a cyber forensics expert. We also has a crime scene expert with us. We also have a defensive tactics person that comes out with us. So everybody has something to share with the PMP.
Okay, can you tell us what your expertise is, Lieutenant Espinda?
Yes, I spent 15 years working with multi-agency task force looking for wanted fugitives. And with this, we had to do learning to train with different agencies and different styles, how to make entries and how to pursue a wanted fugitive. That was one of my training. Also, I'm a certified 11550 under the influence drug recognition person. I also have extended background in self-defense. So these are the things that's on call. My Lieutenant Kema could ask me, can you do this? And I'll be able to present that for him.
Wonderful. So it's a good thing I asked that an intelligent question at last. Police Officer Joseph Philemore, what is your field of expertise that brings you to this exclusive group of 10?
Well, 11 years of patrol. You become a problem solver. I mean, you are the first responders to every call for service. So in that role, you're able to see pretty much everything in police work. And also you've become a psychologist, a
priest,
a friend, and all in one package. But you do see everything on patrol, and I believe it is the backbone of any police department.
How about you, Sergeant Yin? What do you bring to this group? What is your field of expertise?
Well, when we started, I think there were a lot of legal ramifications. I'm an attorney by trade. I was an attorney for the U.S. Navy prior to being a police officer, and one of the goals that we had to establish was the memorandum of understanding between our chief and certainly the of the PMP. So all the proper paperwork was in place. Not only am I an attorney, I'm a college professor back home, so I have a very strong history of teaching and facilitating exchange. If I can go back to Officer Philemore, he's being far too humble. Joe is he's demonstrative of the caliber of people we have. You know, he's a certified instructor at our academy. He's a field training officer. He's one of our department specialists, which is very much akin to SWAT. He's done all those things, but he's been very humble. Every one of our candidates here has done virtually the same thing. We're all certified instructors. We've all done, we're all certified trainers for our department. In fact, Lieutenant Eric Clama, who couldn't be here today,